Hello there, and welcome to Health and Science. Let's talk about infectious diseases next. So as you know, microbes are the primary cause for diseases, and we call them pathogenic microbes because pathogenic is something that is ill, that causes diseases. And they are called microbes because they can be seen only by microscope. So they are invisible to naked eye. Here I have there's the relative size of these microbes. First we have here frog egg, which has width of 1 millimeter, and you can see frog's eggs with your bare eyes. And when we get a bit smaller, we have pollen and human egg, and these are rarely visible by naked eye. And also animal cells and plant cells. These vary from 10 to 100 micrometers, and they are not visible anymore. You need to have light microscope to see them. Then we have the red blood cell, which is one of the smallest cells in our system. And then we get to microbes, which are, for example, bacteria here. And usually bacteria are width of 1 micrometer, as you can see from the chart. And then even smaller are the viruses, like smallpox virus and flu virus. And they are not even cells, they are only part of the DNA, and when they infect a cell, they make the cell into a virus factory. And these are really small. Flu virus is 100 nanometers. Then even smaller is the polio virus, which is only 10 nanometers. And that's not too far off from an atom, which is 0.1 nanometer. So the microbes are really small, and you need special equipment to see them. So these microbes, as said, are bacteria and viruses, but then there's also fungi and parasites and protozoans that cause these illnesses as well. So let's talk about how not to get infected. We talk about vector. Vector is something that causes the disease, for example the bacteria and virus and fungi. So we have 4 ways to get infected by these microbes. So first we have the droplet infection, which is when you sneeze or cough. These small droplets come out from your mouth and your nose. And then contagion, which is when you touch with your skin something, for example shaking a hand or through items like phones or doorknobs. Then mucus, which usually transmits diseases during sex. And then finally blood, which is, for example, if you get shot by contaminated syringe or blood transfusion, or from mother to child. They can also get infected with disease. Some examples of these diseases. Usually droplet infection transmits flu and influenza and diarrhea and vomiting causing infections. From contagion you can get also flu and influenza and diarrhea, so if you touch something and then it gets carried into your system by that. Mucus usually transmits STDs because during sex the mucuses touch, and then the sexually transmitted diseases get carried on. And blood carries HIV and hepatitis. These get carried to another victim through blood. So how to prevent these? Well, the droplet infection is easy to prevent. You just have to cover your mouth when sneezing or coughing. So use your elbow pit or some piece of cloth cover your mouth when you sneeze or cough. Contagion, you have to pay attention to your hand hygiene, wash your hands, and also avoid touching your lips and nose because they have mucous tissue, and if you touch something contagious and then touch your mouth or your lips or your nose, you will get the bacteria in you that way. Mucous tissue carried disease can be avoided by using condoms and avoiding also one night stands when you don't know the partner you're having sex with. And blood related diseases can be avoided with sterile equipment, and also testing the donor of the blood, making sure he or she has no contamination, and also use of condoms. And lastly, how not to get infected is the vaccination program. Because vaccine holds the pathogenic microbes in their weakened state, so the body easily kills them and gets immunity this way. So you inject the weakened microbes into body with vaccination, and the body remembers this and then forms the immunity. Our vaccination program covers every citizen and has nationwide coverage, and this means that we don't have polio, diphtheria, tetanus, mumps and tuberculosis anymore. All these lethal diseases have been won already, and we don't have these because of the vaccination program. So it's something to be thankful of. Now, as your homework, think about what pros and cons can you think for this following. For example, the free vaccination to all citizens. What are the good and bad things about that? And what is good and bad about voluntariness of vaccinations, that they are optional. We are not mandated by law to have these vaccinations. And then we can continue from this in the class.